Hello YouTube, this is Morgan Airspeed Prime here with, surprisingly, another Avatar news update video. Because, shockingly, there actually has been a decent amount of news in the, 2 days since I did my last one, so that's a good sign, I guess. And some of this news is actually pretty big, I'd consider. So I'll just get straight into it because there's a lot to go over. I suppose I'll start off with some UK core news, and the first bit of that news would be that we'd first heard that core is definitely coming in May. It might have been May 12th. Well, that's changed now. They officially announced it a few days ago that Korra is coming to the UK, Book 1 now. Book 1's coming to the UK July 7th, 2013 at 9 a.m. on Sunday. So that's going to be their slot, and they're going to start it there, and they're going to air it weekly from there. There are also plans in place to finally add a Korra section to the Nick UK website. But the big news from this would obviously be that it's gone from May to July, so it's been pushed back by 2 months pretty much. And what they've said have just been late scheduling changes for that. Now, this is interesting in that it means that should Korra take 12 weeks to air, so no breaks, that means that it'll air from July 7th to September 22nd, which would fit in pretty nicely to what everyone suspects will be a book 2 release date, maybe August September time. So that would fit in nicely, but I doubt Nick UK actually know anything, so it is probably just their own scheduling kind of conflictions that led to it being pushed back, because there's been a lot of delays with Turtles and stuff like that. So there's that news. That's just some nice UK news. It's finally coming out, finally fully revealed. Next, I'll get into some award for Korra news. The Daytime Emmys nominations have just been announced, and Korra received 3 nominations. It received one less than Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, but overall I think it was a pretty solid kind of award performance here in terms of nominations. The first one it got was Korra overall got nominated for Outstanding Special Class Animated Production, and basically they nominate all the big guys involved, so Mike Bryan, Joaquin, Ryuki Hyun, and all those people. They basically will accept the award should Korra win. Personally, I think it probably should win Outstanding Special Class Animated Show. It's up against Dan Versus and Star Wars The Clone Wars. I think it's definitely got Dan Versus beat. Star Wars The Clone Wars could get the kind of, I suppose, pity vote because it's been cancelled, but realistically Korra should win because as much as, it was a good season of The Clone Wars, I think Korra was just so much better than it. Clone Wars Season 5 was just a tale of like a poor first half and a really good second half. The second nomination was for Outstanding Directing in an animated show, I think. Basically, who was nominated for this? It was Joaquin Dos Santos, Ryuki Hyun, and Andrea Romano. Who I believe it's Joaquin and Ryuki Hyun are for actual direction of the animation, and then Andrea Romano is a voice acting director. So those 3 will get it should Korra win, and I can't really remember the nominees for that, but I'd say Korra probably could creep in there and get it. I think the biggest thing up against it would be Dave Filoni, nominated for Star Wars, and he may just win that because he basically is the Clone Wars, that sort of thing. The final one was like outstanding casting in a TV show, and it's basically between Korra and Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. So I really think Korra probably has a better cast overall than Turtles, but I wouldn't be surprised if Turtles won, and it's a pretty even one there. The next bit of news would be that we got the preview for The Search Part 2, kind of out of nowhere. I wasn't expecting it for maybe another few weeks, but yep, we got the preview of The Search Part 2, 7 pages. The interesting thing here would be that it's pages 44 to 50, so it's nowhere near the start of the book. It's like halfway through again, and I'm just gonna show you all 7 pages here, just like 2 seconds on each page. So it's only gonna be 14 seconds. If you want a longer look to actually read the pages, the link to all the images, the pages, is in the description below. So you've had a look at them, and you can see the basic idea of what this kind of preview 7 pages is about. The big thing would be that we got some continuation of the Ursa flashbacks. Like we saw basically as far as we've seen her in the show, that being leaving Zuko, but we also got those final 2 panels on like the second page, I believe, of her leaving on a gondola to go somewhere. So she's going somewhere over water or something like that. That's pretty interesting. Which means that over the course of the rest of the book, the last like 20 pages or so, we're probably going to get another flashback that shows where exactly she went. So that's a really good thing on Ursa's side of the story, that we're really getting to explore where she went after that, and maybe when we catch up to her, it's going to be very interesting. On the Aang and Zuko side of the story, they go into the forest that we heard about from the previews, and there's more animals, spirit animals in there with faces on their facial markings on their body, and that causes Aang to have reactions. So there's definitely this big kind of facial expression vibe going through the whole thing, and everyone is speculating Ko face stealer, Ko face stealer. There's something with spirits and faces, Ko is related to faces. Maybe there's something there, who knows. But it's pretty interesting preview, but definitely probably one of the kind of least kind of plot heavy sections of the book. That's usually what they do with these previews. So, these probably maybe some of the this is like the introduction to this new forest area. So the book probably has way more plot heavy stuff. And I think the preview for The Search Part 1 really heavily showed us that the preview is not the best judge of the whole book. So just keep that in mind. Next bit of news will be the art book, the Legend of Korra Book 1 art book, art of the animated series. The cover has finally been revealed. Basically Brian told us that he would be doing like a brand new piece of art for it, and finally he revealed it from over Tumblr. But the thing here is that the actual art is the image of Korra is by Joaquim dos Santos. The whole image is kind of Korra, I think, is painted by Brian, and then the background images is by Fred Stewart. Now I'm just going to show you the image here, the cover of the book. So as you can see, it's a very different style, I think. I like the image, but I personally don't feel it's the best cover this book could have. I have to say I prefer the placeholder kind of image as a cover of the book. But I understand why they would go for a completely different style for an art book. I just was expecting Brian's style of drawing the characters as opposed to Joaquim's. Not that I have any problem with his, I just, Brian said he was going to do it, and it turns out he's only doing the painting on Korra as opposed to actually drawing her. So that was a bit of a kind of, I suppose, a bit of a shock to me. I was expecting Brian's work, but it's fine. The main content is obviously going to be in the book. As I said, I like the cover. It's just I felt it could have been a better cover, because especially with the original art book having such a really nice cover by Brian, I expected maybe a bit more. But we'll see what happens. With the other art books. He also confirmed that there's going to be basically an art book for book 2, an art book for book 3, and an art book for book 4. So 4 art books for Korra planned. So that's really cool. Final piece of news is just I'm going to recap some of the Free Comic Book Day stuff, because it's happening tomorrow. The event is tomorrow, Saturday. Get your comic book stores as soon as you can and get that Dark Horse free comic that has Star Wars, Captain Midnight, and an Avatar comic in it. As well as this, we got a preview. There's a brand new piece of information on this book. Preview for this May comic. One, we have it revealed that the title of this comic is Rebound. So definitely a kind of shipping vibe there. And the preview from one of the comic websites says that this comic features Mai, Zuko, and her family. So that's very interesting. Zuko is going to, I suppose, maybe appear in flashback. I doubt, or is she going to actually see him? Because we know that it takes place after The Promise Part 2 when she leaves Zuko. So is there going to be like a scene that we missed out on? Or just kind of through flashback her like remembering good times with Zuko? And we're also going to get to see Mai's family. So that's very interesting as well. And then it's also described as being a short, bittersweet story. So that's pretty nice. There's a bit of emotion to it, I guess. So yeah, that's a pretty exciting preview for the comic tomorrow. Very excited for that book. And as I said, I'll have a review up on my YouTube channel, I'll have a review up on the site, avatarthelastairbender.online.com, and we'll be reviewing it on Sunday for the Avatar Online podcast. So I'm going to give you like all the coverage of this book that I can possibly give you, assuming I can get it tomorrow and get it like early enough. But I'm heading out to my comic shop for basically when it opens, because I have a pretty busy Saturday morning with like a second podcast to record and stuff like that, so pretty crazy. But yep, that's been a really nice news week. It just like happens where like, oh, I'll do a news video to make up for the lack of like, posting Avatar videos, and then suddenly all the news hits and now you have to make a second one. So you know, it's what happens. But you know, it's always great to get news. So let me know what you think of all this news and what your plans are for Free Comic Book Day tomorrow. But thank you for watching this video, and bye.